All right. Well, welcome everyone to tonight's Hops and Harvest. Oh.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's a good one.
Welcome to tonight's Hops and Harvest dinner. It's our second one of the spring series, and we're featuring Belching Beaver. I'm Paige with the San Diego Brewers Guild, and my partner in crime in these series is Lindsey over at MIHO.
Hi, we're so excited to be joining Carmine here from MIHO and Troy from Belching Beaver. We're really excited about this beer dinner series in general. You know, during the pandemic, it's been hard for us to not be able to do huge events, big weddings, corporate events. And so kind of coming up with this idea with Paige and then looping in all these different breweries and really giving our community a yummy something to look forward to. So super excited to have you guys on. I would love to introduce Carmine. She is our executive sous chef, a mom and skateboarder and biker and just all around badass.
Yeah.
You are.
Oh.
Round of applause. Thanks for the introduction. Thank you for making me sound way cooler than I really am. Yes, I am the executive sous here at MIHO Catering. In fact, I actually been with the company for over 3 years. I took on the title about a year ago, almost 2 years ago. So yeah, I'm here creating and I'm able to taste really good beers and like cooking food with it. But yes, thank you for letting me be a part of it this time around, and I'm looking forward to it. We have a great lineup for Belching Beaver. A lot of great food, a lot of flavors mixed in there. So I'm excited for everyone to try out the food and the beer pairing.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to get into that a little bit later. Paige, do you want to introduce Troy?
Yeah, we have Belching Beaver's brewmaster, Troy Smith, here.
On everyone. Party started, that's for sure. Eating and drinking. I mean,
what's not to do on a Friday night?
Right. It's the best way to start every weekend. Good food, good beer, good company. Let's get this party started.
Let's do it.
Troy, what are you drinking now?
Right now I haven't drank anything. Would you guys like me to start drinking? Because I'm in. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So the first thing we got coming up is this very special beer that we did with the Deftones. Super cool can. It's a pale ale. It's our first pale ale that we've actually put in a package in a long time. We did do some extra pale ales and things like that a long time ago, but it's been quite a minute. So I'd like to talk about the Deftones in general and how this collaboration with them has come about. Not just this one specifically, but what we've done with them in the past. They're a group of guys who really are into the beer scene, and it shows because a lot of collaborations that you hear about, it's kind of like, oh, you just went with some guy because they've got brand recognition. Deftones is a big part of every beer. We do pilots of every beer. They tell us what hops they want. They tell us what styles they want and things like that. So it's a little different than, we just partnered with, I'm not going to name any bands, but anyways, it works. We send them trials of beer. They go, okay, yeah, we like that, but can you do this next thing? Or can you do this? Or they'll try the beers and they go, okay, we like the hops from this batch, but we like the characteristics from this one. And it always seems to be a freaking kick-ass beer. I've been privileged enough to make some of them myself. We have three of us who are really the creators at Belching Beaver, myself, Thomas Peters, and Peter Perricone. And they each work at their own little remote locations. Thomas Peters is at the location in downtown Vista. Peter is at the 980 pub, which is the original facility, and I'm at the production facility in Oceanside. So my experimentation of making and creating new beers has kind of gone downhill, and now I just deal with all the problems of production. But nonetheless, I get to still drink all the good beers, man. So nice.
How do you guys go about naming the beers? Is it
okay? So any Deftones beer, they are the ones who come up with the inspiration for the name.
okay?
Let's see that can. Give us a close up on that can. It's beautiful.
So it is actually their new album release cover, and I believe I don't know the exact specifics, but every dot there, someone's paid for it, and it went to a good fund or like a good nonprofit charity of some degree. I can't exactly recall, but
Wow.
I don't know who paid for that dot right there, but they were good people. But yeah,
Cheers.
super cool can,
How
iridescent.
many dots?
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. But I can tell you, this is good product right here.
It's real good.
A ton of hops thrown at it. It's got cool pooled. So for those of you beer, aficionados, we cool the beer down before it gets put into the whirlpool, and it's called a cool pool there. Then it's transfer or biotransformation hop, so it gets dry hopped or hopped while we transfer beer into the fermenter, and then it gets 2 additional hop doses before it gets crash cooled and sent to a bright tank. So there's a whole lot that goes into these beers, and Thomas Peters really loves to throw us for like jumping jacks, loopholes, and all sorts of other things to try and make some of the best beer possible, and he does a damn good job. So cheers to this dang good beer, and it's a damn good beer. That's not
damn good beer. And what is it paired with, Carmine?
Oh, that will be the first course, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
This will be paired with the smoked baked scallop escabeche. So essentially ceviche. We're smoking the base scallops. So you get that nice smoky flavor. It's going to be paired with our citrus marinade with that one. So we have lime, lemons, orange juice. We got some Fresno chilies in there to give it a little bit of a kick, but not too much. But we went tropical with this one. So we added pineapple and passion fruit to that, and cucumber to kind of give it a cool note at the end. I'm a big fan of seafood, and I'm usually a light beer drinker, and I think this is a really good pairing together with that one.
That sounds really good, because the beer, though I explained it's got so many hops and things like that, a lot of people, when you say, oh, it's an IPA or it's a pale ale, a lot of people get used to the going, oh, okay, great. So now I'm going to get a very bitter beer. And that is nothing what this beer is like. It's just smooth, easy drinking, hop forward, just good times.
With a nice, delicate citrus balance.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those passion fruit citrusy notes, as you were talking about, those play very well into this beer. You knocked it out of the park.
Fantastic. All right, tell us what's next on deck. What's our second beer?
All right. Okay. All right. So one last sip.
You're supposed to chug it and then go to
Clear
the
the
next one.
throat.
And I don't know if I can chug 4 beers right now, especially that last one at the end, the sour. I'll have Pepto-Bismol on the side here. All right. So the next beer we're drinking, we're doing Hazer's Gonna Haze. This is a core beer for us, hazy IPA. Now, the name for this beer kind of came about during a time when, I don't know if you guys recall, hazy IPAs were kind of that thing where, is this a style? Is it not a style? So we kind of came up with the name from the, haters gonna hate, so to speak, right? So Hazer's Gonna Haze, and that's kind of how we got the name. You've got one, badass beaver pouring beer onto another beaver, because he's probably the naysayer and he's down with the hazies. So this is our core hazy. It's not a crazy over the top IPA, as we want to try and make sure that people do have beers. As you can see, it's not crystal clear like that last one. It's got some good haze to it. It's got lots of citrusy notes and everything like that, which is what you're going to pull from a ton of different beers that we do. And we brew it with oats and wheat and things like that. So you get a lot of creaminess and smoothness out of it versus some of the West Coast beers, you get a little bit more of a bite to them. So this one also has revolving hops that change. So as time, we get, certain amounts of hops for certain varieties. And we, when those varieties start running out, we start running into new things. So it's not going to completely change, but things change throughout the year. It says it on the can as well, because we try to keep it a little interesting. It's not like each can is different as they come out, but it's varieties of the hops change, slightly as the year goes on.
And what hops are in these ones? for this batch.
Oh, great.
Sorry.
All right, let's see if I got help from my friends at marketing. Nope, no help. No, I know Idaho 7 is one of the forefronts in this beer. Citra, Mosaic, and Amarillo are in there as well. I'm just not quite sure exactly. I know I'm the brewmaster and everything like that, but it gets overwhelming to try and remember what every recipe is around here. I mean, we're trying to
so it's a little bit more of like a New Zealand hop profile, it sounds like.
No, you know, it's still a lot of American traditional hops. You get some of that danky characteristic. You get some of the citrusy notes. But it is a little bit more smooth and not quite as pop citrusy like the Deftones beers, like this one.
Definitely.
The pineapple, passion fruit, citrus, orange. You know, this one a little bit more subdue on the citrus side, a little bit more on the tropical side of things.
Definitely more subtle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for everyone at home, just a reminder to split the beers, to pour them to separate glasses, enjoy with your friends, your significant other. But Carmine, tell us a little bit about the citrus and jicama salad. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Okay. So course 2, citrus and jicama salad. This one's going to be quite interesting. We're going to incorporate the beer into a vinaigrette. So just kind of give it a little fizz. But for the most part, you know, I think it'll just kind of brighten the dish. This will be, again, a citrus salad, but in terms of citrus, we're adding grapefruit segments, blood orange, and cara oranges. So a little bit of a bitterness from the grapefruit, but, you know, tangy and then sweetness with the caras. But this one will be quite interesting because we're incorporating yellow beets that are going to be marinated in an El Pastor sauce. So you're going to get a little bit of a heat, a little bit of a smokiness. Again, very similar just from the first course, but more depth and flavor. But the best part of it is we're going to add some chicken chicharrones on top. So you're going to have a finish of crunch along with the jicama for freshness, but salty finish, you know, at the end. So you're going to get pops of flavors, pops of textures in there.
Yum. And I love that you actually took the Hazers Gonna Haze IPA and poured that in there in the vinaigrette. So I think we do that with
it. Unfair that I can't eat this right now while we're doing it.
Gotta wait until
people
Friday.
Are like, why don't you have the chef and the brewer eat at the same time?
You don't want to watch us eat.
Right.
No.
Not very
also, we're not classy in the kitchen either. So, I mean, we stand up while we eat.
The food is literally being cooked as we are recording this. So, okay, let's move on to our third course, the Viva.
Okay. I'm moving on here. Okay.
So I have to show my packaging first.
Oh, that's custom. You can't just buy that anywhere.
Yeah.
So this is the actual package can. It's a 16-ounce 4-pack. So originally, Belching Beaver, when we kind of opened up, we had kind of started making a name for ourselves, making stouts. Of course, peanut butter milk stout was the thing that really put our brewery on the map. And the inspiration for this beer, we actually had a brewer who worked for us. His name is Ivan Maldonado. He's worked at a good amount of breweries in San Diego. A lot of people know who he is. He's a really good guy. And he was our cask guy. So he always made like different casks all the time. So we tasked him with all this stuff. So back then he lived south of the border and he would bring ingredients over from Mexico and make these casks that were absolutely amazing. So shortly after, I think that he had departed our brewery and went to another brewery, he had made a chocolate or a peanut butter milk stout with Ibarra chocolate, which is, or as you see the Nestle's Abuelita's chocolate, it comes in the little circular pucks. It's got all those like cinnamon, cardamom characteristics into it that has a little bit of a spice note to it. So when he made that cask, it was the inspiration for making this beer, which was Viva la Beaver. Then at one point in time, it changed its name to Peanut Butter Mexican Chocolate Peanut Butter Milk Stout, long thing. We realized it was way too long, didn't make any sense, so we went back to Viva la Beaver, and it's actually the imperial version of it. So it's a milk stout. It's brewed with lactose, so it does have an apparent sweetness to it. It also, the lactose in the beer gives it a big body and a mouthfeel and a creaminess that you can't really get unless you're adding a ton of lactose to beer. So we got that in here. I'm going to open it up for this dark, rich stout into this glass.
Even on the nose, you can get some of those, those cinnamon, those flavors you were just talking about. The chocolate.
Yum.
So I don't know if you guys have ever had Mexican chocolate like as a dessert or a hot chocolate, but it blows the American version away. It totally does. And on the package, it'll tell you, I think you put it in with hot milk to make it extra creamy and blend it up. And man, I'm telling you, that is just an absolute treat.
Yeah, they have like I forget the name of it, where you just
like a little whisk.
Yeah.
A wooden whisk.
Yeah, you do that and it froths up.
Oh yeah, you can go into those nice cinnamon spicy notes out of there. So we actually do add a little bit of cinnamon in there to help bump that note up a little bit. So I love this beer. It drinks extremely well for, a big dark.
A tiny bit of like a spice on the end. Not overwhelming, but a tiny little spice, which is nice.
Oh, that's good. I don't drink a lot of these beers very often because I'm always kind of drinking, I hate to say it, seltzers to try and keep, the figure. You can't see from here down a little on the thinner side, but every once in a while I get to treat myself with some of these marvelous beers, so it's a good thing.
And Carmine, for the third course, can you talk about why this beer pairs so well with the third course?
Yeah, I'm excited for this third course because it's going to be a braised lamb mole, not Cho Mama's lamb mole. Boom. No, this is awesome. And I think with the little notes of cinnamon, we're going to just heighten that with this mole. In fact, we're actually incorporating the beer and the traditional abuelita chocolate, which has notes of cinnamon in there.
Yay!
Along with that too, cinnamon, we have ancho, dried ancho in there, guajillo peppers in there. So again, deep depth and flavors. So a little bit of warmth, but it'll may feel a little heavy. So we're topping it off with a fennel, chayote, and a radish salad right on top. Feel a little less guilty. But we are going to top it off or pair it with the smashed plantain, so mofongo style. So very Latino, Latin flavors in there. So you're going to get a lot of like roasted garlic in there as well. So a little creamy finish with the plantains, warmth from the mole. I think it's a perfect pairing with that one.
I can close my eyes and dream. I think you just described it.
Are you salivating right now?
Yeah, I am.
Who's hungry?
Mole is like one of my I love mole. And you don't see a ton of mole on dishes, so I'm freaking stoked to be getting down on this when it comes piping out the kitchen from you.
So mole is a traditional, like it's a chocolate-based sauce, right? If you can talk a little bit about that.
It's just more of like stewed protein or any type. Of this one, we're going to add lamb just to give it a little bit more depth and flavor, I feel. But yes, chocolate, it's not mainly chocolate, but there's chocolate in there just to give just that elevated, warm, home cooking type of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be quite heavy, but I think with everything put together, it's not going to put you to sleep after you eat it.
Good, because we have one more course left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, everyone, grab your knives.
Yep.
It's time. So a lot of our sour beers, we do a little bit of a wax dipping on them. Right, so this is our batch 9 sour here, which this beer was created by Peter Perricone. So when you get sour beers, a lot of times the wax dip is kind of a pain if you're just trying to grab your opener. It doesn't exactly open up very well, right? What you kind of want to do is inch underneath it, and you'll kind of start to pull the wax up and away from it. And then you can kind of see once you get it going, it'll actually peel up and you'll expose pieces of the cap. And you only need to get a little bit of a corner. Once you get that corner going, it should kind of just come off as one piece there, cap underneath it. And here we go for the last beer. When I turn the camera off, I'm going to drink all these just so you guys all know. All right, so sour beer is definitely a little bit different of a beer that most people, you either love it or you hate it. And I would like to hope most of the people that are getting this beverage from us enjoy it. Fruited sours are a lot more common than unfruited sours, and I think that's just because sours can tend to be a little bit tart. They've got that higher acidity, and when you add the fruit to it, you kind of go, oh, well, most of the fruit that you eat has a lot of acidity and acid characteristics rolling with it. So the good thing is with sours, you get a lot of actual probiotics that are in the beverage still because you've got a lot of lactobacillus. That's an active culture going in there, just like you'd have in kombuchas and things like that. But not only that, it consumes all the sugar. So those people who are trying to mind their sugar consumption and things like that, sours are a great alternative. You know, of course, there's always the seltzer beverage, but this is, you know, a little bit more body, a little bit more flavor, and not quite as much drinkability, but it's good stuff. Ooh, oh, dark cherries are just freaking, Balaton cherries. There you go. So it's really popping out the glass there. I don't make the sours. I can't even keep up with sour and his sour production going on over at 980. But this beer is barrel aged in wine barrels that are neutral for a long time. Then he kind of picks and chooses varieties of the barrels. Some of them might get a little bit more sour. Some of them might get more bready characteristics, things like that. So it's kind of a blend of a bunch of different, you know, barrels combined. Then he ages on the fruit. Once the fruit kind of drops out, clears up, he bottle conditions them, adds sugar to it, and then it re-ferments in the bottle. And that's what we've got here in our as a final product.
How long have you guys been doing your sour program?
The sour program has been going on, I think, since 2014 or 2015. I can't quite recall. Peter used to work at a former brewery that was down the street from us, that is no longer in business right now. And one day I was up at 980 working on the scissor lift. We had some glycol leak going on, and Peter goes, "Hey, Troy, you guys hiring?" And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? And that was the day that we started our sour program. We ordered like 50 barrels from a winery, and the program has just kind of gone on from then. And he's really made some spectacular beers, and he's a great part of our team. And this, again, is an amazing contribution to what he can do with sour beers and barrels and stuff. The cherries just pop out right in your nose.
Yeah, it's good.
Big time. And it's not overly tart, which is sometimes what you find with sour beer. It gets a little too cloying, very acidic, stripping the enamel off your teeth. And this is not what that is. So cheers to this in batch 9, because it's good.
I love it. Carmine, tell us a little bit about the chocolate tart that we paired it with.
The final course will be the milk chocolate tart. This is pretty simple in terms of a dessert, but I think with the sour, it's a great pairing. So we're doing a nice buttery little tart. Underneath, we'll have a dark chocolate ganache. So a little bitter, but we're going to sweeten it up with a milk chocolate pastry cream. And then we're going to top everything off with a raspberry and strawberry chutney. So this is the part where it's going to pair well with the sour. So we're going to add a little bit of acidity in there as well, just a little bit. Add a little apple cider vinegar to the chutney. With that chutney, we're adding a little bit of coriander, mint, basil, and it sounds kind of odd, but it actually works really well together because you are getting a little bit of the, a hint of tardy from the raspberries and strawberries, just a skosh, but for the most part, I think every bite will go pretty well, and then, drink it down with some of that sour.
There you go.
Yeah, I think the contrast in the creaminess of the tart and then the sourness of the beer will be really nice.
Mm-hmm.
We did receive a couple questions from ticket buyers. So the first question is for you, Troy, and it's, what has your brewery been doing to innovate during the pandemic?
So phase one of the pandemic was kind of a weird time. We had, it kind of threw our brewery for a loophole, because it's like, okay, well, we always have our tanks full, and we've always got, need for packaged beer and things like that. But then, like I was talking about 980 and Tom and the other pub that we have, they're just, we don't have packaging equipment over there. So we had all of our tanks filled in the very beginning, and we're like, holy crap, what do you do with all this beer? Because draft is gone. Right. So in the beginning of the pandemic and throughout it, what we've been doing is trying to innovate, create, and just have more small batch releases. And we tried offering them at a much cheaper price than what you'd find on a store shelf. We tried really going with the buck a beer mentality if you bought a case of it, right? Because we didn't go through a distributor, so it didn't need to be marked up. It didn't sit on a liquor store shelf and get its second markup. So we tried offering beers to people at a really low discounted price to make that work. Since then, it really just depends on the correct, the circumstantial, of, okay, did the governor say we can dine outside? Can we dine inside? Can we sell beer to go? Do we have to close down? But we've really tried to work with it and find ways to innovate, create, and get beer in people's hands at a reasonable price. And you're going to continue to find it. We're going to have brewery-only releases and things like that. We've bought a small packaging line for both our 980 and tavern facilities, so that they can keep doing cool beers and actually finding a home for them, because a lot of breweries, including ourselves, we had to buy back kegs from distributors. We had to do a lot of things like that and pivot and do something that we've never had to really do before. So we're going to keep trying to create new beers at a good offering for people. And hopefully it just continues to get better and better, but we're working through it.
A time for pivoting and innovation. So
100%. Yeah.
That's why we're all here, right?
Right.
Mhm.
This is new to me. I've never done a beer dinner through a computer. I've definitely done some
or without food.
or that. Yeah. Usually you get to be at an outing and you're with other people and you kind of get to meet and talk, and I could shake your hand and do all that stuff, right? But we're adapting, we're trying to change, and we have restaurants ourselves, and they've really got the worst of it for sure.
Yeah. The second question we have is for Carmine, and it was, how do you make the pairings? Does the chef make the dish first and then find a beer that goes with it, or does the chef design a dish around the beer that a brewery has chosen?
Yeah, we design it around the beer that you guys choose. I take the tasting notes from that and see what it pairs with, and then when I do that, I get the opportunity to taste the beer. I live in North Park, so I have access.
Barely any beer around there.
Barely. Actually, it was like 2 blocks away from Belching Beaver. Yeah, we work off of notes, and those tasting notes are super helpful. I mean, that's how we naturally do our menus all the time. Oftentimes it's just figuring, the holy grail for a lot of chefs. We utilize a lot of books, particularly for the last 10 years. I've always used the food Bible. I forget what it's called. But it tells you all the pairings based on season, based on hot, cold. It really helps out. But yeah, the tasting notes are the ones that are the greatest. And I mean, I grew up drinking while eating, so it's just based on an experience too, and your flavor profile.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up, guys. I just want to say thank you to Belching Beaver. Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Paige.
No, thank you. Thank you for helping us and letting us incorporate with your marvelous chef who's creating amazing dishes that I'm going to go eat right now, literally. So I got to go by.
We're prepping it right now. You want to come through?
Taste
test things before it goes out. Quality control.
Yeah.
I'll bring you here. You got the food. I mean, match made in heaven.
I get off in an hour.
Okay. Well, thank you to you both, and thank you to Lindsey, and thank you to the ticket buyers and the guests. I really hope that you enjoy this special 4-course dinner and you join us in the future. We have a great lineup with White Labs coming up, and Ruler, Harland, Border X, and Alesmith. So we've got an awesome lineup, and we've had so much fun putting these dinners together, and it's been a really great opportunity to really highlight the culinary expertise that we have here in San Diego, and of course the amazing beers that we have throughout the county. So Lindsey, I don't know if you have any final words or.
No, I think you nailed it. Just a reminder to everyone that purchased a ticket that it is a fundraiser for the San Diego Brewers Guild. So you are supporting a handful of small businesses, MIHO, Belching Beaver, and the Guild as well. Paige and the Guild do a lot for the Brewers community in San Diego. So
sure do.
Yep. Cheers to that. Well, enjoy those beers. Got my water.
I'm empty.
Cheers, you guys. Thank you for enjoying us. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the beers and the food. People worked hard to get it to you.
Hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.